Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha with Ice Cream Fitness here. Today I want to answer a question for you guys that seems to be coming up quite a bit again. It's stuff I've covered in the past, but I guess I need to recover it because so many people are asking this. But hold on, let me give you guys a bicep shot first. Alright, I'm getting questions again, and people are asking, they're asking it on the Facebook page and other places, about can different rep ranges and training styles recruit different muscle fibers. So does doing, say, lightweight with high reps recruit mostly the slow twitch fibers, and are the fast twitch fibers recruited mostly by heavy work, or doing 4 reps or 5 reps? And the answer is no, absolutely not. And a lot of people don't know this, a lot of people in the industry don't know this, a lot of very successful bodybuilders and athletes and trainers don't actually seem to know this. So it's not a knock at them, but this is something that is basic exercise science. What you find with any sort of resistance, and it doesn't matter whether that resistance is walking down the street or walking upstairs or throwing a baseball or lifting a weight, your body recruits muscle fibers in order. It always starts with the slowest twitch fibers and goes through various intermediate fibers, and it only recruits more aggressive, I guess that's the way to put it, the faster twitch fibers. It only recruits them as they are required, but it doesn't recruit them first. It actually goes in order. So you will actually initiate a dozen different subtypes of fibers before you get to the highest threshold muscle fibers when you're doing something, and everything below it will be recruited. And you can't do it the other direction. You can't go start with the fast twitch and you work your way to the slow twitch. It goes the other direction. And what I mean by that is, if you go to lift your 1 rep max, for example, you will literally recruit every single fiber type when you first start lifting, and it will do it in a split second. It will go through and hit them in order. So it will start with the endurance fibers first, and as soon as your nervous system realizes those endurance fibers can't do it, it will start stepping up through the different fibers in order to generate the force that you're trying to generate. So doing a 1 rep max will recruit all muscle fiber types, period, and it will do them in order. Now, we know that the more endurance-oriented a muscle fiber is, the less chance it has for hypertrophy, for growth. So if you can hit those upper threshold fibers, the further you get up in there, as far as their speed of twitch is generally what it's called, the more potential they have for growth. That those fibers are capable of getting bigger than those others are. Now, it's not to say that those smaller fibers and those endurance fibers don't add to your muscle volume, because they do. So they do need to be recruited, but you don't have to do anything special to recruit them. Your normal training will do it, your heavy work will do it, your powerlifting will do it. Now, how do we get to those upper threshold fibers? Well, exercise science has discovered a number of methods. It's not actually just a one way to do it. There are several different ways to do it, and this is one reason why you see really big guys and girls who use different training methods, yet they still obtain large amounts of muscle mass. So first off, you can do it with straight intensity and weight. Anytime you work with anything over 85% of your 1 rep max, so if your max bench press is 100 pounds, anytime you go over 85 pounds on the bench press, you literally recruit all available muscle fibers and muscle fiber types. You recruit virtually every muscle fiber that your nervous system will allow you to recruit, and the muscles involved on every rep. The next way to do it is by working with what people call the hypertrophy rep range, and and again, I've discussed in my whole playlist. I've got a whole playlist of why I don't believe in the hypertrophy rep range theory. If you guys want to jump into that, I cover that in a lot of detail. But that is the minimum range needed to hit the upper threshold fibers under normal work conditions in one set. And that's usually about 70% of your 1 rep max. So if your max is 100 pounds, anytime you go to 70 pounds, that set, if you take it near failure, you don't have to take it to failure, you just got to get close to failure, it will recruit those same upper threshold fibers that you recruit on your 1 rep max. And usually it will start recruiting those upper threshold fibers around rep 5 or 6. You've got to get into the rep a little bit to exhaust the endurance fibers a little bit, so your first few reps you won't really hit those upper threshold, but by the time you get to around rep 5 or 6 or so with 70% or 75% of your max, yeah, you will recruit those fibers. The third way you can do it is through exhaustion. And high rep exhaustion work, you can hit those upper threshold fibers also, but usually what you have to do, and we're talking about when you're working around with 50 or 60% of your max, you usually need to do sets to absolute failure, or you have to do sets, multiple sets. So you might be able to, let's say you're working with 50% of your max, if you were to take that set all the way to failure, that very last rep that you complete might hit those upper threshold fibers. It's not guaranteed that it will, but it's going to get pretty close. But if you do, say, 10 sets of 10, like on the German volume training with 50% of your max, and you do it with short breaks between, and you build up all that metabolic fatigue on those later sets, you will definitely be hitting those fast twitch fibers because your body has no other way to lift the weight because you've exhausted the endurance fibers with the earlier sets, even with the lightweight. And then the fourth way that you can hit those upper threshold fibers is through dynamic effort work, which I've done quite a few videos on. I've got in my training playlist, I've got examples of me doing dynamic effort workouts for the full day, which is powerlifter stuff and athletic stuff. And so by moving a weight, you can do this with even as light as 30% of your 1 rep max. Sometimes you can still hit the upper threshold fibers if you accelerate the weight fast enough. Through sheer explosive speed, you can still recruit the upper threshold fibers with a light weight, and you can do it on every single rep, even the first rep. If you can build up enough explosive speed and acceleration, it will do so. So those are the 4 ways in which you can do it. And remember, they're always recruited in order. So you always, even on every rep, you're working up the chain. So you're starting with the endurance fibers, and then it just goes up the chain and recruits the fibers that it needs to generate the force you're trying to generate. And if it can't do enough, then obviously you fail to lift the weight. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope this has been informative and has clarified a few things. And I will talk to you next time.